tired of being afraid all the time, not knowing why. Sleepless, waking up terrified. I was tired of living in the past in fear. I had to change. Now I know, no matter how much I do change, I am left with me.
All right. Well, let's see here. There we go. All right. I guess we'll start here. I guess this video will be about, should you start writing? And that is always a crazy question. Like, should I get into writing? And there's reasons why I think people get into writing. It's kind of weird. I'll tell you my story. I mention it every once in a while. When I got out of the Army, I got my first motorcycle. I was in my 20s, and I rode for 4 years, and I quit. And just recently, this season, first season back, getting into riding again, and it's awesome. It's probably one of the best decisions I ever made, and it was probably one of the best decisions I ever made in my 20s too. And my very first bike was a Ninja 636. Well, I think it was maybe a generation before the actual 636. It was 16. It said like 16 DOHC on the side. So I mean, it was a 600 636. I'm pretty sure, the first variant of such, and it was fantastic. 4 years of riding right there, and the reason why, and I think some people, when you get a motorcycle, maybe what I'm trying to say is maybe there should be a reason why you want to get into motorcycle riding. I think that's the crux of it. Some people's reasons to get into motorcycle riding is because it's cool, and I ain't gonna disagree with it. It is damn cool. But on another level, for me personally, riding motorcycles helped me cope with the past when I was younger, getting over. And you may seen one of my other videos, but I have anxiety, and the issue was the one thing that took it away was riding. And in those 4 years, riding kept me at a high threshold of awareness, and it was something that I just got used to being in. However, being a civilian, all that is taken away from you. And so your high sense of awareness is kind of taken away from you. And I didn't it was the only way where I could actually that's why motorcycle riding worked for me, is because it took the edge off of the situations to put me in the situation of the moment, which most people want. You want to live in the moment. I mean, maybe most people don't want to live in the moment and stuff like that, but before you buy your first bike, what I'm getting at is what's your reason? And then that just covers the first part. So your first, you don't need a reason to ride a motorcycle. I had a reason to ride a motorcycle, and it just happened to fall in my lap at the time, and I kind of lucked out. It just seemed to fit. It just seemed to fit. There's no other way to put it. Second part, what kind of motorcycle should you get if you've never ridden before? And that's always a tough one too. It's always a tough one. What kind of motorcycle should you get and everything? And on the internet, you see mistakes being made quite often when it comes to riding bikes and stuff. I'm not going to get into those sort of mistakes because, well, idiots on bikes are always going to be idiots on bikes. That's just the way it is. There's always, and the sad thing is the internet is always going to gravitate towards people trying to kill themselves on these things. Fine, whatever. And my recommendation is, it depends on your experience. If you have dirt bike experience, then, or if you had like a little moped, or maybe your parents had a little Grom or something like that, or something, and you have a little bit of prior experience, or maybe you're one of those kids that grew up on a bicycle, like a BMX bicycle. I grew up on a BMX bicycle tearing through my neighborhood as a younger kid. So, transitioning over to a motorcycle, in my 20s, was easy. It was very, very easy. That's why I started with the 600. I didn't really know anything about motorcycles when I first got my bike. I had a friend, and he just was like, I'll show you how to ride and everything. And he taught me how to ride, basically. And he didn't teach me to ride safely all the time either. But luckily, I never had an accident, which is great. Well, I kind of did have an accident, but it was just a spill. It was just a spill. Dumped the bike, fine, I'm good, that sort of thing. And as a new rider, though, what motorcycle you should get, start with something. And I'm going to be straight up. I'm going to be straight up about this shit. Don't be an idiot and get yourself a 700, or an idiot, if you have no riding experience at all or anything. Don't be an idiot. Don't get a leader bike. Don't get a 700. Don't get a ZX10. Don't even approach the leader bikes. Don't even consider them valid. Don't. I'm just going to say it right now as it is. And I know a few people might say, well, I started on a leader bike. Well, good for you. You didn't die, which would probably be a low, I don't know. I would say a low survival rate, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. Start out on something that you're comfortable with, even a Grom, like a Grom, if you have no riding experience at all. In fact, if you have zero riding experience at all, like even riding a bicycle, get a bicycle first. Okay? Don't just step up to a bike and expect good things to happen for you, because it won't. The magic doesn't happen that way. So, stick to my wife's first motorcycle is a 250. It's a Ninja 250. It's a nice little special edition. It's beautiful, and I've taught her to ride on it. And it's taken months, but she was a girl that she grew up on she grew up on bicycling all over the place. She even bicycled in the same haunts and everything that I did way back in the day. She decided this time around, when I got my bike, that she wanted one also. So I decided that I was going to teach her, and fantastic. It worked out for the better. It worked out for the better. Good things, people, whatever. And what I mean by the whatevering is the training involved for a motorcycle is not a couple of little courses. Your training and accomplishment is not accomplishing your MSF. Your training and accomplishment is not just getting the permit on your bike. Your skill set grows carefully on a motorcycle if you take it seriously. These things are, I'm going to reiterate, are deadly, dangerously deadly for idiots. And they're incredibly dangerous for don't know or don't even respect what they're doing, maybe don't even respect themselves. So, I mean, I would say based on your experience and stuff like that, it's still not shameful to kick off with a 300, an R3, a Ninja 300, a Ninja 250. In hindsight, I'm going to actually withdraw my recommendation for like a Ninja 250. The Ninja 250 is just too underpowered. I mean, unless like you are in a foreign country and you're just kind of getting around in small town, small roads, no big highways or anything like that, then the 250 is absolutely 100% perfect. If you're commuting to work and you don't have to jump on the highways and stuff like that, 250, absolutely perfect. Okay. I live in the back roads and stuff like that. And we do, back roads, twisties, all day, every day. Not all day, but every day we ride twisties now. And the 250 is fantastic, was fantastic, and has been fantastic for her to ride on, to get acquainted with throwing the bike around, and getting corners, approaching speeds. There's a whole level of things that one needs to really pay attention to in riding. And I'm not even espousing myself as an expert. I only have a mere total of maybe 5 years riding, 4 when I was younger, and this is my first year back. So it's not like I'm a master class or anything like that. And if you're just coming across my video as the first time, YouTube is your friend. I'm going to get into, good content creators really quick with this video. And essential looks on YouTube. Moto Jitsu. Probably the best guy I've seen giving out life-saving information on his channel. Life-saving lessons, life-saving ideas, life-saving physics on how these things work, and approaches to safe riding. And it's very essential that, early on you grasp an understanding of safety for these things, and respect for these things, because they'll kill you. They don't care. The roads don't care. The streets don't care. If you don't respect yourself on the bike, it will kill you. Not today, maybe tomorrow. So being very careful on motorcycles is always essential. Again, Moto Jitsu is the #1 dude that you should probably watch when it comes to, basic riding, advanced riding techniques, and not get ahead of yourself. There's other guys out there that are really, really good with what they do. And informational stuff would be like Yami Noob, okay? And Yami Noob is fantastic for, updates on motorcycle riding, updates on new models, updates on good directions, safety videos as well. Fantastic. And I'm not just making this video to kiss up to these larger, very large content creators. But okay, and then I spoil myself with one bad boy out of Houston, and his name is Crash Test Goat. And he's going right now that's pretty big. I watch him because he's a highway rider. He's a fast boy rider, without any shame about what he's capable of doing on a bike. And when you watch this guy's content, it is incredible. It is dangerous. It is incredibly dangerous riding. And then and that guy, I watched that guy. He has a lot of experience, but if you watch him, he knows that, what he'll tell you in his videos, what he does is not recommended for anyone on a motorcycle, even with the best experience. The most experienced riders in the world do often pay a heavy price. Even experts go down on these things. And sometimes it's stupid. Sometimes they're pushing their limit. Either way, and it's not a matter of not respecting the bike, even when you're highly trained, or not respecting yourself and you're highly trained and you crash. One thing that you should accept as a rider, you should crash. I know that's dark. But you need to experience at least one, even if it's small, even if you, do a little tag on somebody's bumper. Those sort of experiences will wake you up, and it's very sobering. Hopefully those experiences don't happen to you at high speed. So again, just to recap some of the situations, we all ride for different reasons. So ask yourself, what's your reason? If you got friends that ride and you want to roll with them guys and stuff like that, great. Just remember, you're not at their level no matter what, because you're starting at zero, and maybe they're already, doing boss fights on the highway. I don't know. But you got to, find your own personal reason for deciding to ride. And I see all kinds of reasons. A lot of people ride to escape their problems, like me. A lot of people ride to feel that adrenaline in the sport of it. That's good too. There's people out there that just want a different challenge in life. Or maybe even a life change, a direction change. That's why you see like guys my age decide to get into riding too. That midlife crisis hits people, and they want something different. And the midlife crisis situation is not something to be laughed at, or something that typically happens to everybody. But the midlife crisis I juxtapose to somebody that is more or less bored with their mundane life. If you want a different sort of life, these are it. This is one thing that'll bring so much more to your life, so much awareness, so much more life to what you do and how you even think, to a very high degree. So, you got to find your reason for riding, and it's sometimes personal, sometimes it could be trivial. But if it's something that you really feel like doing, then again, I'm going to fall back into what's your skill. Your skill level should be constantly. Start with a small bike. Depends on your skill level. If you have a little bit of experience, maybe you got a friend and you took his bike around the block a few times or something, and you like the vibes from that. Depends on your experience. But my baseline is, if you've never ridden a motorcycle before, start with a bicycle. If you've never ridden a bicycle before, start with a tricycle. That's it. You don't just go from no experience at all to getting a motorcycle. I wouldn't recommend it. Before you buy your bicycle, like if you're ready to pull your trigger on a motorcycle right now, here's what you do. And you've never ridden before, ask yourself, did you get a bicycle? Did you take a bicycle around the block? Did you do those things? Get a bicycle first. Even a few months of bicycle riding will give you a good idea of how the balance sort of works and get you used to a few things. Bicycle first, okay? After that, get yourself a 300, not a 250, depending on where you go. If you're just planning on getting a bike to commute, 250, and you don't have any highways, 250. 300s are great all around things. Commuter, I still don't like the idea of even taking this thing on the highway. The highway's a different sort of beast. If you're going to be on the highway, 400 and up, 500's good, 600's good. But if you're a new rider, start out on the 400s. And I guess this is my unabashed take on riding and why people like you might be looking at it. But before you pull the trigger on getting a bike, just be honest with yourself. And you know what the advantage is if you get a lower CC bike and you're a new rider, don't let the badass bad boy image fool you. There's a lot of great riders out there that will be more than willing to help you, more than willing to train you, because you might get your permit again. I'm going to rehash this again. You might get your permit, you might get your MSF, and literally, you're not the shit. You're not the shit after that. Your shit has just begun. And you have to be very careful about that situation. There's always going to be a better rider than you. There's always going to be somebody with more skill. And those people are the ones you're going to want to pay attention to and learn from. That's why, again, I'm going to recap again with like Moto Jitsu, Yami Noob, even Crash Test Goat. If you like bad boy riding and high risk riding, Crash Test Goat is all about that. He knows the chances that he takes, and I pray for him every day. But nonetheless, there's your answer about motorcycle riding. Have a good one, and yeah, I guess that's it. Peace. Oh yeah, really quick. Subscribe. Follow. Like.